My name is Lauren Matthews, and if you'd told me even a year ago that my marriage would take a sharp turn into unfamiliar territory, I would have laughed. My husband, Nick, has always been the type of man who finds comfort in routine. He likes his coffee black, his toast golden brown, and his weekends predictable. So when he sat me down one rainy Thursday evening with a serious look in his eyes and said he wanted to try something new, I was more than a little surprised. At first, I thought he was talking about a new hobby. Golf, maybe. Or perhaps he wanted to learn how to grill more than just burgers and hot dogs. But the way his hands trembled slightly as he held his mug, and the way he avoided my gaze, I knew this was something deeper. I braced myself. "What is it?" I asked, trying to sound calm. He looked up, his eyes vulnerable. I think we've been stuck in the same rhythm for too long." I furrowed my brow. "You mean like, us?" Nick nodded slowly. "I don't mean I'm unhappy. I love you, Lauren. You know that. But I just feel like I'm missing something. Or maybe we both are." I stared at him, trying to read between the lines. Was he bored? Restless? Did he regret marrying so young? We'd tied the knot at 26, after dating for nearly 5 years. We were 32 now, married for 6, and life had settled into a pattern that wasn't exactly exciting, but it was solid. We had a cozy 2-bedroom house in the suburbs of Ohio, stable jobs, and no kids yet, just a dog named Murphy who liked to bark at squirrels and sleep at our feet. "What do you want to try?" I asked, more wary than I cared to admit. He hesitated. Something different. Something spontaneous. Spontaneity wasn't Nick's style. He was a planner through and through. If we were going to the movies, he'd check the theater map, pick the best seats, and print the tickets 3 days in advance. So for him to suggest something impulsive? That caught my attention. "I'm listening," I said, leaning back on the couch. He took a deep breath. "I want us to go away for the weekend. No phones. No plans. Just get in the car and drive. Find a place. Stay there. See where it takes us." It wasn't what I expected. Not scandalous. Not alarming. Just different. And oddly enough, it sounded kind of fun. "Okay," I said after a pause. "Let's do it." The following Saturday, we packed overnight bags, left Murphy with Nick's sister, and hit the road. We didn't have a destination. We just picked a direction north and drove. It felt strange not to know where we were going, but also freeing. Like we were college kids again, full of curiosity and laughter. We passed small towns, rolling hills, and eventually found ourselves in a place called Maple Creek, a town so small it barely showed up on the GPS. There was a little bed and breakfast on Main Street, run by an older couple named Jack and Sandy. They greeted us like old friends, showed us to a cozy room with a fireplace and a view of the woods, and told us about a hiking trail just beyond the back gate. We spent the weekend walking through tall trees, eating homemade pie, and talking about things we hadn't discussed in years, dreams, regrets, what we'd do if we could live anywhere in the world. It felt like pressing a reset button on our marriage. I could see a spark in Nick's eyes I hadn't seen in a long time. And maybe he saw something in me, too. But the moment that truly changed everything happened on the second night. We were sitting by the fire, sipping hot cocoa, when Nick turned to me and said, "I've been thinking about more than just spontaneous weekends." My heart skipped. "More?" He nodded. "I want to be more open with you. I want us to be honest about the things we've been holding back. Even the weird stuff." I raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" He hesitated, then gave me a sheepish smile. "Okay, don't laugh. But I've always wanted to try dancing in the rain." I blinked. "Dancing in the rain?" He nodded. "You know. Like in the movies. Shoes off. Music playing. Just letting go." I laughed, not to make fun of him, but because it was so unlike him. "Seriously?" He grinned. "Dead serious." I checked my phone. Rain was forecasted for the early morning. I smiled. "Then we'll do it." The next morning, true to the forecast, the rain came. A steady drizzle that turned into a full shower. Nick pulled me outside, barefoot, holding a Bluetooth speaker blasting old jazz standards. We spun in circles on the wet grass, laughing like children, soaked to the bone. I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt so alive. After that weekend, something shifted between us. We didn't go back to being the same couple who measured life in careful steps. We started trying new things regularly, taking cooking classes, hiking unfamiliar trails, even joining a local improved group. Every time, Nick would flash me that grin, and I'd remember that night in Maple Creek. But change didn't come without tension. One evening, a few months later, Nick came home late from a writing group he'd joined. His face was glowing with excitement. He sat down next to me and started telling me about a woman in the group who had challenged him during a writing prompt. "Her name's Emily," he said casually. "She writes these surreal little stories that just get under your skin. It's amazing." Something in his voice made me pause. "That's cool," I said, trying not to sound too interested. He didn't notice. "She actually suggested this crazy idea, what if we wrote a story together, but each from different perspectives, not knowing what the other was writing. Just blind faith." "Sounds fun," I said, but my stomach twisted. Over the next few weeks, he kept mentioning Emily. How smart she was. How unpredictable. How she reminded him of how he used to think before routine took over. Jealousy crept in like an uninvited guest. I didn't want to admit it, but I was afraid. Afraid that in seeking something new, Nick might find someone new. I tried not to let it show, but one night, I snapped. "I feel like you talk more about Emily than me these days." He looked up, startled. "What? No, come on, Lauren. That's not fair. Isn't it?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. He sighed, rubbing his face. "She's just a friend. I swear. But maybe you're right. Maybe I've gotten carried away." I crossed my arms. "I just don't want trying something new to mean losing what we had." He came over and took my hands. "We're not losing anything. We're growing. But if something makes you uncomfortable, we stop. No question." It took a while, but I believed him. That night, we sat down and had the most honest conversation of our marriage. We laid out everything, our fears, our insecurities, our longings. And we agreed, trying something new would always be something we did together, never at the cost of each other. We even started a blog together, sharing our experiences with trying new things as a couple, from salsa dancing to volunteering at animal shelters. The community we built around it reminded us that so many couples go through the same fears and breakthroughs. It made us feel less alone. Now, a year later, I look back at that rainy Thursday and smile. Nick did want to try something new. And I let him have it. Not just the spontaneous trip or the dancing in the rain, but the space to grow, to stretch, to question. And in return, he gave me something new too: adventure, honesty, and the chance to fall in love with him all over again.